Hey everyone, welcome back to She Plays the Podcast. I'm joined today by Kay Rawlins, one of the original founders of Orlando City Soccer Club, Senior Vice President of Community Relations, and the President of the Orlando City Foundation. Thanks so much, Kay, for coming on today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
I'd love for you to tell folks a little bit about who you are and how you guys started Orlando City Soccer Club, originally actually in Austin.
Timing is a massive piece. We were there wrong time, I think. It's kind of ironic in a way that Austin's about to get their MLS team. They start playing next year. They weren't ready for us at the time. And so we took the very difficult decision to move, and just so happy we chose Orlando. I think Orlando was ready. Orlando, only had the Magic here, so only one other major sports franchise. So there was definitely space for us. We have such an incredible mix of cultures and ethnicities here. Every other country in the world, every country in the world loves soccer. So that was a big piece. And then, this is a really warm, welcoming community to new business. Mayor Dyer played a huge part in championing us and, really getting behind us, opening doors, helping us find somewhere to build our stadium. All of those things were hugely important to the success of the team. But like I say, the media came around, the business community, and obviously the fans, who were just incredible. It's been really cool. And obviously this season for the city are just playing so well. And finally we get the Pride playing again, which is awesome. So yeah, it's been obviously for everyone such a strange year. Just glad we've got soccer back on the menu.
Yeah, I will say, just as a Pride fan myself and sports fan in general, it was kind of just like, I just wish I could see my team out there when all the other teams were playing. And so it is so nice to see them. And yeah, Orlando City's off to a dynamite season. So it's awesome. It's really awesome. Yeah. So I'm curious, because you have the unique experience of you're an owner, you're in like the business side of sports. I know you're a big fan. Did you play sports growing up?
I did. So I've literally played every sport except soccer.
It's funny.
I grew up in England at that time. It just wasn't a sport that girls played. I mean, I have two brothers. I'm one of five. So did we play soccer at home? Of course. And I would play with my brother's friends. But for me, my main sport was field hockey. I played on the left wing. I was a prolific goal scorer, loved it. I swam for my school athletics. I was a sprinter. Tennis, you name it, any sport possible. Most lunchtimes and almost every night after school, I would have practice for one thing or another. So grew up loving sports.
That's awesome. Was there one that you loved to play most?
I think hockey. I just think it's a very similar setup in a way to soccer in terms of number of people on the field and positions. I played on the left wing. And again, timing. I was in a team at the time that we were almost unbeatable. We went through 4 years of winning almost everything. It was, and that camaraderie you get from playing in a team, especially a settled team, you become really kind of good, close friends. That was so much fun. I loved it.
Yeah. Is there a memory that stands out of like when you're reminiscing about, the past of like, oh, this moment was awesome. This play that I made or goal I scored or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, actually one for a kind of a tricky one in a way. So we were in the finals for the county championship, and you have to take a step back a little bit, by the way. So sports in England, in schools and colleges, are just not attended or celebrated in the same way that they are here. You know, college sports isn't really a thing. You know, you may play the college closest to you in some kind of game, but you know, if 10 men and a dog show up, then it's a good crowd. So we were in this county championship, and we won with like 2 minutes to go. And afterwards, when we'd won, we went running up the field, and I'm swinging my stick around my head, and I clobber one of my teammates, and she gets concussion. Like, she drops like a stone.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was awful. It kind of put a put a dampener for sure on the celebrations, and taught me, you know, your stick, don't be doing that. But yeah, it was just a really fun. It was a fun team to be a part of, obviously, because we kept winning. So you know, it's a good feeling.
That is fun to win. It's fun when you're winning all the time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say though, like in the few losses that you did have, do you feel like those, and you know, like remembering, was it like inspiration to just dive deeper into practice, or like, yeah, for a team that wins all the time, losing can sometimes be, you know, the start of a downfall or the push to, okay, we needed to learn this, go better. What do you recall the experience at all?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we'd be devastated for a while because we're just like, what? And you know, those learning moments of, you know, pick yourself back up. And I think we were blessed with just a really great coach. She wasn't that much, and when I look back now, I mean, she was in her mid-20s, so she wasn't that much older than us in a way. And she just had a great attitude, and you know, we would dissect what happened, what did we do wrong, you know, what do we need to work on. But I think it's harder in a way when you are winning all the time, because you just think, well, it's just a blip, you know, and we're just going to carry on like we did. And I think the confidence level was so high in that team, that we could brush it off maybe a little more easily. You know, I don't know what that must be like if you're a team on the losing end all the time. That's a really that's when coaches are amazing, because you have to keep going, you know, and it can destroy you and your team. And you know, in professional sports, we see it all the time. You know, we're very quick to make changes on coaches, you know, not giving them enough time to, you know, to get things on an even keel again. We're very quick to go, okay, you're out, we're going to bring someone else in. That's tough. That's really tough. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm also a very optimistic person. I'm not someone who gets down about many things at all. So I'm sure I would have, and gosh, you know, it's a long time ago now. It feels like a long time ago. I'm sure I would have just gone, you know, brush it off and let's go for the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's, I mean, just being a fan, I feel like that's probably how the U.S. soccer team is, like the women's national team. It's just like that confidence is so strong within them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this was strange, let's learn, but like, we're good. We're steamrolling still. So yeah.
Agreed.
It's interesting though about college sports in Britain. I had no idea that they are like not a thing. I know everyone loves their football team, but
yeah, but that's outside of it. Here's a novel idea. You go to college in England to study.
hey, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
No, and it is, honestly, it is a phenomenon here in America. I don't know if there's any other countries in the world that revere college sports in quite the same way. But it's an industry. It's a massive industry. The money it brings in is amazing, incredible. You know, even high school. So obviously lived in Austin for, gosh, I can't remember even how many years, 6 years. So you see that Friday Night Light mentality there. And I think in some ways, for us when we were there, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, if you like. So we were struggling to get 3,000 people to come and watch a game. We tried to work with the University of Texas, to use their beautiful grass soccer stadium. They weren't interested. And then 2010, I think, which was the year we decided we couldn't do this anymore. Two high school teams who weren't even in the same, I don't know if it's a conference bracket, whatever you call it, had a friendly game before the high school season started. UT let them use their 110,000 seat stadium. They had 36,000 people.
Wow.
For high school.
For an American football game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obsessed. They're just obsessed with
it. So that was obviously an eye-opener in just in the way that Americans have this love and affinity for their teams, whatever they are, at the college they attended. And it's funny when people would ask us in the very beginning, about why soccer is such an obsession in every country. We would compare it to how people here in America feel about their college team. You will always support your college team, no matter how terrible they are, no matter what slump they go through, you will always, always support them. And that's how people are with their teams all over the world. The team that you first become loyal to is the one you stay with. And I definitely feel that's why Orlando City supporters are so incredible, because we've gone through some really, when we were a USL team, we were killing it. Like, we kept winning trophies and we did so well. And then we, went into MLS and we struggled. But true fans, true supporters stay through thick and thin. And that's what we have here. We've built that loyalty, that, this is my club forever and forever. And they instill that into their kids, and so now we have kids who've been coming since some of them were tiny babies, the first time they ever came, who will grow up to be Orlando City fans. And that's when the sport will really become established here in America. I mean, it's already obviously on a great trajectory, but it's still a baby. It's still so young in comparison to all the other leagues. But this generation and the next generation and the one after that's when it's really, it's instilled in the community. So it's been really fun watching it happen.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of anything else I know of that is such a generationally passed down tradition, and I'm not sure there's
no, because people have their NFL teams and their basketball teams and whatever, but it tends to be a little bit, if they're not doing well, then I won't bother going this season kind of thing. Whereas that will never happen. It never happens in soccer. I mean, hey, I'm a lifelong Stoke City fan. We've been in the league, well, we've been a club since 1863. So long time. We've won very few things, but they're my team. I started supporting them when I was a little kid, and they're still part of my my psyche, and they're my team, and I would never change to something else, despite the lack of trophies and everything else.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. On my college team, which I will leave unknown, we've had our ebbs and flows too, but there's something deep about, I spent 4 years there, or 3 years there, I guess, but yeah, it is a funny phenomenon though, like just the loyalty that people can have. And I mean, I think about that movie, Fever Pitch, with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore, how he was just like so obsessed, wouldn't miss a game for any life moment.
Right.
And you see that all across the world. It's unreal.
Yeah. Oh, you hear people in England, any of our friends, if they were daft enough to get married in football season, you'd be like, no one's going to come. What are you thinking? So yeah, it's a way of life. And it's also, I think, a sign of how sport can affect a community. So, we all know that kind of feeling you get when the team's doing well, because then everyone's in a good mood about it. People want to talk about it, and it just gives you a boost. So I think, and I definitely, harking back to England, I know, when Stoke got into the FA Cup final, like the town went crazy. People had got stuff in their shop windows. Everyone was walking around in their colors. Like it was incredible. So yeah, it can have a real effect. It can.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what people have been missing, and is that feeling of coming together as a community to support your community in a unique way. And I mean, I certainly like miss my game day family, whatever
Right.
we call ourselves.
Yeah.
But I'd love for you to tell a little bit, because I know you are so involved in the community from the club side. Just kind of like what do you feel sport really can bring to a community? Like the value that maybe like things that the club does that no one knows that they do in the community kind of thing.
Sure. I mean, I think there's lots of ways. I think that's number one is bringing people together. And I say this in so many talks that I do. I love looking out at our crowd on a game day and knowing that it's every ethnicity, every sexuality, every walk of life, every every job. Everyone's there, whether you're, a judge or, someone working on a construction site, does not matter. If you're wearing purple, you're in my family. We're friends. Like we're part of it. It's a very tribal sport. It really is, complete with drums and everything else. I mean, it's tribal. And I think there's just nothing like it. And I still I talk to people even now who will tell me the moment they became a full-on fan. And a lot of that is around, I mean, we had two of the most incredible games I've ever attended anywhere. And I've been to World Cups and everything. So the first final we were ever in 2011, where the goalie got sent off. We were down to 10 men. It went to penalties. Like people tell me about that game all the time and say that was amazing. And that was the day I went, right, I'm in. And then 2013, we had the 7-4 final where Dom came back and scored 4 goals. That was just mental. It was just a crazy, crazy game. But again, anyone who came just for that game, we were in a final. So, you get people who kind of thought about coming, wasn't sure, but their friends gone, come on, we're in a final, let's go. We had a really good turnout for that game. And again, that was when we gathered more people in and they said, oh, that's it. I want to come to another game. So I think bringing the community together is definitely one thing. The foundation has also been, a catalyst for a lot of really cool, fun projects that we've done. And again, our supporters are awesome, saying, how do we get involved? What can we do? So gardens, building mini pitches, bringing free programming to kids who, can't afford footwear, they can't afford shin guards, whatever it is. We want there to be no barriers for anyone to play. And soccer is, as you know, it's that sport that it's a global sport, but it's also, it's men and women can play, boys and girls. You can play till you're whatever age. You can play anywhere. We can go outside on the street here, and as long as there's, you have to stop when the cars come. And that's how I grew up playing. Everyone would walk to the side of the road for a minute. There's somebody shout, car, and everyone would scatter for a minute. So I think it's, that's one of the things. And then I think the other piece is, and you definitely have that contingent of people who are like, keep politics out of sports. But I am not one of those people. I think athletes in any sport have this incredible platform to spread good messages, whether it's vote, and both our teams are involved in get out and vote. And it doesn't mean one way or the other. It's you have this right to do it, and you should exercise it, else you have no cause to complain for the next 4 years. Get out and vote. So those kind of things. Black Lives Matter. We're finally seeing a shift again. And I don't know how much you know about Dr. Lapchick, Dr. Richard Lapchick. You should look him up.
Okay.
He is a treasure living here right in our community, who has been involved in the fight for civil rights, for equality for women too, since, he's in his 70s now, I think. He was involved in the fight against apartheid in South Africa, to the point where he got beaten up and had the N-word carved into his stomach. It's never stopped him continuing this fight and using sports to help shine a light on inequality in whatever way that is. So I'm proud of our athletes for standing up, and we stand with them. They feel very strongly. I know the MLS has formed Black Players for Change, and they're determined to not just talk. Like, they want to get involved. They want to get involved in their communities. And I've had the players reach out to me now to say, we want to act. What can we do? What can we do? Let us get involved. And having our stadium in Paramore, which is, has seen some declines over the years. It's a great place to start. And work with, Paramore Kids Zone and New Image and all of the other places around us to help these kids, give them a hand up, in any way that we can. So, yeah, it's been definitely, we live in interesting times, as they say.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I feel like sports are such a part of the fabric of a community for the better, and it's always used to make a community better, fuller, more whole. And if you're not, I'm the same way, shout from the rooftops what you care about. You're like, athletes are people too, and they care about their lives and their kids' lives, I think it's almost a duty for sports to make these situations aware, let's talk about this. Let's provide a safe place to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it or bring attention to it. So yeah. I've been really thankful and grateful and impressed that with the messages that are coming out and the coalitions that are being formed. I just think it's awesome. So
yeah, we won a ESPN Stuart Scott Inspire Award a couple of years ago, which came with a nice big fat check too. But that was for our response to the Pulse shooting. And and that's another platform that we have been out there, shouting it from the rooftops. And, obviously we have the 49 rainbow seats in our stadium as a permanent reminder that we are an inclusive club and you are welcome. And again, I know that that's something that our community, we're proud of. And continue to be. And it's a reminder to us as well, what are we doing? How are we getting involved in that community as well? And making sure that they feel loved and included in everything that we do. So,
yeah, it's incredible. It really is. It's to be in that stadium and see those seats. It is just a reminder of loving people for who they are, and not taking any day for granted. So it's very powerful when you go to the stadium and see that. So Yes, very much deserved award, I would say. But yeah, so I'd love to just kind of do a few rapid fire questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, all right. What's your favorite sports movie?
Oh, sports movie. Oh gosh. I probably remember the Titans.
Great one, great one. Who was your like athlete that you looked up to growing up?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, Jimmy Greenough, because he was a soap player that I loved. Um, but then Bjorn Borg,
Great
because I'm
one.
a big tennis fan and I just thought he was incredible.
Very cool, very cool. Have you ever been to Wimbledon?
Yes.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, several times. And the US Open actually too.
Very cool. Gosh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. If you could be awesome at any sport you've never played before, or like, played on a team before or anything, what sport would you want to be awesome at?
Soccer.
Soccer. Okay, there you go. There you go. Well, and one of my questions was, what's one of your like favorite memories of like watching sports? But you shared two awesome ones with us. Is there any other game that comes to mind?
Yeah, going to the World Cup in 2014, and actually being there for the semi-final, the terrible Brazil Germany game, which,
Oof.
yeah, especially as obviously we have a lot of Brazilian people in the office, our ownership. That was a tough one. That was hard. But then being at the final as well, which was just so much fun. Um, it was my first World Cup, and I think to be in a country like Brazil, where soccer is king. Everywhere you go, even if you go shopping in the supermarket, there's kids with a ball at their feet going up and down the aisles with their mom or dad doing the shopping, but kicking a ball around. And even the way the beaches are set up. You have to go almost to the sea if you want to just lie out in the sun, because there's soccer, there's volleyball, there's soccer pitches, everything's set up on the beach for activity, which is really fun.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's very cool. I would love to. I can't wait to get a World Cup or go to the Olympics. Are you an Olympics fan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we would love to have the World Cup here.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. I got
Orlando.
brought the scarf.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so cool. That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. If you could have tickets for one event around the world, whatever, you get to go anytime it's happening. What event would you want tickets for?
Oh my God. Um, I think it would still be a World Cup final. Women's or men's. There's just something so incredible, and you're top of the world. You're the best in the world on that day, and that's what an incredible feeling that must be. So yeah, it would still be it would still be soccer.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. What's the best perk of owning a team?
um, there's not as many as you think. I think people think we would automatically get tickets for that. No, that's that unfortunately. I would say for me, I do get invited to a lot of really cool things. Whether it's appearing on podcasts or getting speaking engagements, or being invited to events especially that are going on here in Orlando, which is great. And I will support as many as I can. It's we have such a great community here. In the arts and music and theater, we're really blessed with what we have here now. I think if you're a company, looking to headquarters somewhere, I would totally look at Orlando now. We've got sports, we've got arts, we've got culture, and then we've got the beach, east or west coast, very easily there. We've got the theme parks. We're just a great destination for everything. So yeah, I love living here.
It's awesome. For any women who are listening that want to pursue like executive style positions in sports teams or sports clubs, any words of advice for them?
I mean, do it. We need more. You know, I think one of the cool things is we've just started a chapter here of WISE, which is Women in Sports and Events, which I think is going to be great because it is women supporting women in so many ways. There's mentors that you can ask for, and or be a mentor. So I think that's going to be a really great addition to here. And I would, you know, if you're thinking about it, reach out and, you know, ask someone in whatever sport it is you're interested in. You know, make contact whichever way you can, and you know, make those connections, because I think a lot of it is around networking, connections, you know, building relationships, do internships. You know, I think us at Orlando City in particular, we have a great record. If you go around our office, we have so many people who started out as an intern and now have a full-time job with us. So I think internships, you know, and it can be rough sometimes because not all interns get paid, and, you know, it seems tough at the time, but it opens doors. You know, I think that's the piece. And sometimes you just have to be willing to, you know, sacrifice for a little bit for the end result. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. I really appreciate it. Anything you want to promote or plug in this last little chunk?
No, I mean, you know, we've just launched the Kicking It Back Club for the foundation. So we get asked a lot, like, how can people help? And we don't always have physical projects to do. And I think for a lot of people, they imagine that donating to a charity means you have to do large amounts. So we've taken it a step back. And so you can get involved for as low as $10 a month, and be involved in our Kicking It Back Club. And there's all kinds of, we've never done swag before for the foundation, and now we are. So we have a patch, which I know is like, our fans love those patches. Like, we have them for all kinds of things. So if you become part of our club, then you get a patch. There's scarves, there's going to be magnets, there's all kinds of fun stuff. But for us, that's a regular stream of income. And especially at the moment where, you know, we haven't been able to have events in the same way that we would normally have to raise funds, this is just a different way of doing it. You know, and obviously we have our big donors, but this is an opportunity for supporters who have, you know, been incredible already, but be able to get in at, you know, hopefully an affordable level and support the foundation.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely get that link and put it in our show notes so you can check it out there. And just thanks again, Kay, for your time and for who you are and what you do. You make such a difference in our community, and I hope you know how appreciated you are. And just thanks again for making the time to be here.
Thank you. I really appreciate you asking me to be on.